And welcome back to another GACC podcast where we discuss games, anime, computers, and collectibles, I think still. But not necessarily all
Not necessarily this time.
Yeah. So, I think first off, we're going to start with a kind of like year-end, New Year's, start of the year wrap-up and everything.
Let's just open up with the obligatory Happy New Year, since this is going up. The audio portion of this is going up Monday.
Yes.
New Year's Day. So, Happy New Year.
We hope we induce many more hangover headaches.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, the thing that you want while you're suffering a hangover is to hear our lovely voices.
Yes.
Yammering
they want to hear mine.
No, that's the thing. Of course.
Maybe.
So.
Maybe.
Yeah. We have been a little lax over the holidays since about Halloween on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We put up a show, I think, between Halloween and the New Year. Maybe two.
Maybe two.
Not my fault. I told them. I told them they needed a Halloween special.
The truth.
I told them they needed a Thanksgiving special. I told them they needed a Christmas special. Nobody listens to me.
The truth of it, guys, is the holidays are extremely busy for all of us. We all have our jobs and our families and everything like that. And putting together YouTube content on top of all of that during the height of the holidays, all of that shopping and good time and stress and everything like that, it just kind of got ahead of us and we let it flounder.
Yeah.
So.
The thing is like, between work for some of us, and then, the family stress and everything else, it's just like you're so mentally exhausted by Saturday. It's just like,
yeah,
I don't want to record.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how bad it is. I've been on break from work this entire week. I have not played one video game.
You poor man.
I know.
Yeah. Not even some
I
Overwatch.
don't believe you.
No.
Yeah.
I haven't.
How about the one with the blocks?
I haven't even played that. This whole break.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
Yeah,
I haven't
that.
played it. So, no. I did what any responsible family man does, is he picks up a very boring hobby and proceeds to use that to recenter. So I sat there with my Magic collection, and there was a good couple of days there where I sat and took a bunch of the cards and singles, and I sorted and organized and put them into the inventory system, along with building a new set of shelves for it too. So, it's collectibles we're talking about, stuff we're supposed to.
We do geek out about collectibles occasionally. There are some plans we have for the future. We are going to get back to a regular schedule uploading.
Yes.
Of course, we want to give you viewers out there something entertaining to watch. So those series that have been getting response are going to see a continuation. Unboxings as we can get them, reviews for Odd Man Outs and the Quick and Dirty movie reviews are going to continue as things can be recorded and edited. We have some new stuff still in the works that we're not going to really comment upon just yet. We don't want to put a deadline on it or say this is what we're going to do definitively, but we do have some new stuff coming up. And then, of course, Storm Drain, Backseat Gamer, the Let's Plays that we've got ongoing. We do want to get back to all of that. We want to keep doing that. But, of course, we'd love to hear from you guys, what you've liked, what you think we should be concentrating on. Because if it gets a response, that's what we want to continue to do. We wouldn't do something for this channel if we didn't have fun doing it in the first place.
Yes. And please tell us what you think. I know one of the other things we have to look at, we have to set up a Patreon because other things have happened, such as VidMe shut down.
Yeah.
So
you won't see that at the end of the videos anymore.
Yeah.
Our VidMe subscribers. We might change that to Patreon subscribers if we get enough.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out tiers for that, and we'll probably get something like that going and see if there's more rewards that people want to give, or want.
Hit us with your suggestions for tiers, as it were. Keep them reasonable, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tell us what you think. I mean, it's like there's things we can do, there's things we can't do within reason, and we're still trying to kind of figure out the model for all this. I mean,
and unfortunately, whenever we seem to find something that starts to stick, something changes within the community or within the platform policies on YouTube, or something goes on online, it makes us pull back, or it makes the audience pull back, and so we feel like it's every step we take, we end up having to be forced to take 2 steps back.
Yeah, and this is just one of the things from actually being trying to be a smaller content creator.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these have less impacts on people who have more subscribers or more viewers and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, they still feel it too. It's just they have a bigger buffer so it's not it doesn't hurt as bad.
Yep.
So, what was that? That's anything else with like the state of all this?
I think we could do sort of a year in review kind of thing if anything kind of bubbled up that we really want to go back and revisit. That said, I don't remember absolutely everything that we've covered throughout the year.
Well,
I can mention something interesting. Hello Games, that we could get away without having to mention No Man's Sky for our big first year thing. No Man's Sky is not part of this. They are, according to the undeniable Sean Murray, working on more content for No Man's Sky. But Hello Games has established something of a foundation called the Hello Project or Hello Administration or something that I'm not really thinking like looking up right now.
so Skynet.
Sort of. What they want to do is provide a sort of investment capital / encouragement for other indie developers.
So flood insurance, because that's what they didn't have.
Yeah, they want to have a platform where, if they see something that's interesting, they want to pay people to continue to develop that and have it under the Hello kind of thing as more of a production company or distribution company.
That sounds nice of them.
Yeah.
So they want to be EA.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know for sure. It seems all kind of above board when you look at it on the site, but that's what the brochure is supposed to sound like. I don't know anything in particular because I'm not a game creator yet. So I haven't really had anything to submit for their approval process.
There are people out there that would say we're other things that we're not creators of either as of yet.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even know if, how well we're doing with that sometimes. I entertain myself. That's what counts.
That's
right?
what's important. We come into this thing just to kind of have a fun conversation, and you guys are along for the ride.
Yes.
So I did want to come back with that and being like, there's actually something notable to mention about Hello Games.
I completely forgot about that dead horse.
Yeah. I know. Well, I just recently finally upgraded it so now I can view 4K on my computer. And so one of the games that I have that can actually run in 4K resolution,
Minecraft,
was No Man's Sky. Minecraft in 4K.
He does not want to play your Minecraft.
I don't want to play. We're gonna have some Minecraft content coming up eventually, sooner or later.
Yes.
We're a YouTube channel. We have to have Minecraft content.
Well, talking about the year in review, this is the start of. We're seeing 2016 or no 2017 is what we're in. God, It's been a year. Holy cow!
It's been a year.
So this has kind of been the budding year of VR, and I think we've finally seen. This has been the gestation period.
That's what I thought.
And would you like to explain to people what you thought that are on the audio?
Well, considering you're a lefty and you're drinking out of that cup, okay, and now you're using your right hand, you're not flipping people off.
I'm polite to my audience.
It's one of those novelty mugs with the middle finger on the bottom, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yes, except it's backwards because he's left-handed. So he's
like, down with you.
Yeah.
Let me just stir my coffee with this.
So anyways, so we've seen the gestation period really for VR over the last year, and we have the mixed reality got released into the market.
We've both picked up some mixed reality.
Yes, we both picked up mixed reality, and this is the thing is we're seeing a $200 to $300 price point now, and we also are starting to see AAA titles. We're the 3-4 big titles for VR right now.
Right now, the big AAA development titles are there's porn. There's
that's debatable, but we'll get back to that.
There's Fallout, Doom, and
Porn.
Skyrim. There's a Skyrim VR.
Skyrim.
And then there's another one, Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Minecraft
I would
is a
consider
VR,
that the AAA title.
I can tell you, it does take some getting used to. If you're thinking about trying out VR, find somebody else who has it. Find a friend who has it and check it out for yourself. Don't do the phone thing with the visor that you plug your phone into. That's not true VR. You're not, unless you can figure out a way to. I mean, you're going to end up spending as much as you would have spent on normal VR just to get your phone to that capability level.
And that's my argument right there against the porn thing. Basically, it's the phone VR is for porn, and that's not really AAA production value yet.
Personally, I can say from my experience that trying it on the phone versus trying it on the mixed reality headset, the mixed reality headset is way more conducive to consuming
porn?
All VR content. Wasn't specifically going to say the porn. All VR content, asterisk. Mixed reality and dedicated headsets will always be an improvement, a marked improvement over having a phone, which is a multi-purpose device.
Yeah.
And those visors, I mean, you have to get the one that's compatible with your phone specifically, and then the visors are so cheap to produce that there are so many knockoff products out there.
I've seen a lot of knockoffs.
And I've even had some, like I had a site that will sort of remain nameless send me a free Google Cardboard for signing up for their monthly.
Would it be a hub for porn?
I can neither confirm nor deny. But they do. Some sites do send you free Google Cardboard if you're interested in consuming their product. And I can say that I've actually gotten in one of those flat pack Google Cardboards that you have to assemble yourself, and they send you tape and Velcro and strap and all of that.
That's weird.
And yeah, putting it together is a craft project. And if you don't actually crease it or get it just right or assemble it just right, it can be just as bad as any other headset.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
The only thing I really, what I want to do with it, I'm not even looking at it like I want to look at the porn or I want to play games. I want to go on a vacation in it or walk through the forest or something, you know?
You can.
Well,
go walking through the caves, walk through a forest, go on vacation, whatever, just see nature and just relax.
I can show you a few things. I've got there's some Steam VR games that are about just basically walking around different locales. There's a specific demo on the Windows mixed reality side that is about traveling, taking a trip to Peru or something like that.
there's a few things like that. But the trick is you got to get off your phone and get back to your computer in the office.
So we will have some VR content coming up for you guys once we figure out all the bits and bobs. Yes. I'm personally excited for in AAA Fallout VR because that looks like it's what I expected a VR game port to be.
I do want to do Minecraft VR. That is interesting.
Yeah,
but
I'm not too sure how that would work as far as the grand scale that some people come up
How
to.
about Mortal Kombat VR?
Oh God!
Get over here.
No, not yet. So one thing I did notice though is when you go from a VR headset on the computer and doing like the VR type games, and you get used to it a little bit more, and then you go back to the phone on the VR, even with the $5 headsets, you're actually already trained and it's adjusted better automatically. Like it doesn't hurt on the phone after you've been in real VR because you're just stepping down from watching stereoscopic 3D basically to red and green or blue and red 3D glasses again.
The thing is, I'm a little bit worried about trying it. Like I said, because for anybody who doesn't know, I have seizure disorder, and even though my meds do control it, I'm a little bit worried about VR and how it might affect my seizures.
That's definitely a concern.
I do want to try it, however, and hopefully it's not going to mess with me.
Well, I had not just I got to try it plenty over the holiday weekend recently, but I had the occasion to take it and have most of my immediate and extended family try it as well. And reactions were mixed. People trying it out, it was cool. I think my brother got into it because he's a gamer like I am, and so he got really into it. My sister-in-law, she couldn't make it 2 minutes. She gets horribly motion sick just moving around. Even using the snap controls really set her off.
Probably give you a headache and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
And so she was a little woozy after trying it for a bit. My mother, while she enjoyed it, she said it was cool but dumb, and she nearly fell over the minute she put on the headset, just like walking around and stuff, just lost her equilibrium, essentially. So
Wow.
you have to understand these headsets take you out of reality. The more you get into it, the more you are unaware of the outside world around you.
They have those where they're showing where the people have to walk across the tiny beam way above the city or whatever like that.
Pick up
and
a
people
kitten.
are like this. Like you'll see in real life, they're like this crawling across like the floor because they're freaking out.
I had no problems with that.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe it's just because I've been a gamer for so long. You know,
I had some problems
You got to
with.
think about.
I had some problems with the freedom of movement in games like Minecraft, and there's an add-on to the Rise of the Tomb Raider game that is a VR thing that it warns you considerably, but it gives you a free roam mode that you can kind of move around. Though the movement controls in my mind there needs to be a tightness for gamers. Gamers have muscle memory when it comes to controllers, specifically if they've been playing with controllers since early years. If I move a controller in a video game that I just bought and playing on a 4K screen or a 2D screen, there's an expected standard of movement there that is not translating to 3D. They seem reluctant to do that. So they either want to make it so you don't float around and move and waver so much so you don't get motion sick, and give you the snap turns and the shutter stop motion kind of controls. Or if they do give you freedom of movement, it doesn't work the same way that it does on a video game, on like a AAA game. That's why I'm excited about Fallout VR, because that's at least one game that's saying, you know what, you want to move around just like you do in the game, with like if you were just playing the game without VR, let's do that.
So you get to hack and slash it.
You get to hack and slash and run around.
actually, yeah, you can. If you actually build a melee thing in there, everything's usually pew pew guns though.
Yeah.
But yes, you
and
can.
Melee gets really kind of shutter stoppy, because the only way that you can make a melee thing work in the end game on Fallout, completely going off on a tangent, is to use VATS.
I'm just thinking, like if you were doing like VR, like WoW, and you actually had to like heal people or like whatever, and you're like, I'm just going to stand in the corner and do this.
Heal.
I don't want to do VR in World of Warcraft because of Goldshire
Remind me.
or the tram.
Oh god.
Oh Lord.
The two role-playing places.
No, thank you.
So,
Actually, the place, it's all around, got the water and the bridges and. Okay, it's been too long since I played because my mind just went whoop.
Water and the bridges. There's a few places with bridges over water.
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them have trolls. And speaking of trolls,
Oh god.
life has gone
Oh man,
too far.
That was painful.
Yeah, they're ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
I like to pretend there's trolls under the bridge when I go hiking in the mountains, and I'm the Billy Goat Gruff.
So I'm trying to segue. And I just got rubber band back.
Yeah. That was a James worthy segue.
So trolling has gone a little too far.
A little bit.
We've had our first death from swatting. It just happened here.
Well, yeah, I am unsure that we can really say that it is the first official. It is a death due to swatting.
No, it is the first. It is the first time somebody's been killed from swatting.
Yeah.
So this is the first death from swatting. So the craziness about the story is, one, it was between two Call of Duty players over less than a $2 bet. Number two, the person who got killed wasn't even involved. Is that correct?
So it is unclear as to whether the person that was killed. There's a lot of allegeds in most of the news coverage out there that's actually being kind of reserved about it because they don't want to be fake news into oblivion. But essentially, what it was there was a dispute on a Call of Duty bet of $1.50, and then the person who felt slighted contacted this service online. This person named Swatistic, and yes, it's spelled as dumb as it sounds.
He probably paid more for the service than he lost on the bet.
Yeah, and so Swatistic, to put it upon himself, it is his profession, as self-proclaimed, to call SWATs and bomb threats in as requested by people, and he gets paid to do this. He got paid to do this particular thing. So he called in to the Wichita Wichita Police County. I don't know if it's county or state or whatever, and made a rather lengthy call to them, demanded a strong police turnout. Now, he did give an address. It was unclear as to whether or not this address was the one that the victim lived at, or if it was even an accurate address to begin with. But police ended up in this man's neighborhood, focusing on a particular thing, and then on a particular homestead or something like that. And then when this man saw lights and police mobilizing outside of his house, he went and looked out. He went and opened his front door to figure out what was going on. The police proceeded to shine a spotlight on him, put him on gunpoint, give repeated demands to exit the house and come towards them, as if they were trying to lead him to safety. Apparently the same thing happened for his family in the house, allegedly. And when this man was confused and didn't really know what to do and had some trouble deciding what he was going to do with his hands, he was shot. Single shot. Wasn't multiple shots, from what I understand.
To the head.
To the head. But was shot and killed immediately because of reasons. Now, everybody's kind of playing the blame game and pointing at it. The man who is allegedly behind the name of Swatistic and running this service has been... It's suspected he's been arrested.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, California.
In Los Angeles. So this was the whole thing, the shooting, the police thing went on in Kansas, and this man's been arrested in L.A.
Yeah.
Well, the best part is all these people pointing fingers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Even the person who called in the SWAT is pointing fingers, going, "I'm not responsible." Mm-hmm. He goes, he ends up going, "I didn't get anyone killed because I didn't discharge a weapon, and being a SWAT member isn't my profession." Okay, fine. There's a weak argument in there that the police officer
that he did not ultimately commit the act that led to the death of somebody.
Yeah, but
they wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for him.
But the thing is, that's like saying, it's like, I didn't rob the bank, I just drove the car.
Yeah.
No.
So that's actually been used as a defense,
I mean, only if you didn't know they robbed the bank, and you were just like I gave my mom a ride to the bank. Mm-hmm. I didn't know she was robbing the bank.
Yeah, but
I thought she just had a lot of bank accounts. We hit like 7 banks.
But you're really just as accountable. Just as accountable. So the person swatting is just as accountable.
So we're going to see a lot of legal coverage on this. It's probably something we're going to continue to follow throughout the start of the year. Right now, there's a lot, like I said, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of allegeds going on here. But I say my sympathies go out to this family.
Definitely.
That they actually had this kind of thing, and I think swatting is a horrible prank, because even if you this might be the first death, but there have been people who have been subjected to physical assaults by police officers. There have been whole families that have been their house has been invaded. They've been restrained. Pets have been injured or killed because in some states there's
Raj Baris.
What are you talking about?
We don't. That's the name, the supposed name of the guy, the Swatistic guy. Or something.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know for sure. This is a man who has been arrested in connection with the case. Baris.
Yeah.
Yeah. And supposedly the swatted address was a false address too, which is what makes this potentially worse. Is that an innocent man in this argument over $2 bet has gotten an innocent person killed potentially.
For those of you, if you don't understand swatting, SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics, heavy police thing. It's very, very, very romanticized in media and things like that. Swatting somebody means calling and getting the SWAT put out on their address, which means you have to get their address in the first place. We don't know if the right address was going around. We don't know if the right people were involved. But this whole thing kind of snowballed into leading to this man's death, and this family is now having to make up for the loss. So it's
over something that's
over
probably not
$1.50.
even going to cover a cup of coffee these days.
Yeah.
This is one of my big problems with like the culture nowadays is stuff like this, where when did it become acceptable to prank call in the police on somebody?
Well, people they do pranks against people, or even when they're trying to get them into the hazings or whatever they're doing, and they do stuff against people, and it's like, you wouldn't want that done to you. It's like, oh my God, that is so terrible. Why would you do that to anyone?
Okay, but hazing is different than swatting. Okay, so
Yeah, but this guy said that it's been done to him.
And so he decided to start doing it.
It's like, well, did you appreciate it when it was done to you? Probably not. Why the hell would you do that to someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Some people might have been, oh, that was a lol, what a prank, or something like that.
I mean, obviously, it didn't really hurt his family or his pets or, whatever him. Obviously, his family didn't get attacked, beaten or his pet shot or anything. But, he should realize that quite often when the cops show up, that pets will get killed, that, whoever's in the house, whether or not they're involved, might get attacked, and it's not because the police are out there to hurt you. They're out there, they got to do their job, and they don't know who's dangerous.
And they're assuming there's something really bad. Like the Wichita police basically released a statement saying, according to the call, we had no clue what was going on at this address. I mean, what we heard was horrible, that there was somebody in the house with a gun threatening, had already committed murder, threatening the murder of other family members, threatening suicide, threatening to burn down the house. Like they felt that there was a very high risk situation they needed to defuse.
That's a terrible thing.
And yeah, putting them on that high of an alert, putting those resources out there on a false call, is and the whole aspect of swatting in my mind is kind of an offshoot of like the trash talking competitiveness that goes on video games like Call of Duty and the like. And there was a lot of people who would probably assume it's like, I probably wish at one point or another, it's like, you know what, this kid, this dude, this guy, I'm being nice here, there are some really worse names. I wish I could just reach through the screen and grab this guy and throttle him.
Oh yeah,
I wish physical harm on this person for the stress and the distress
just
that they are causing.
Just because they're so obnoxious and cocky.
And somebody figured out a way. Somebody, I'm pretty sure some teen somewhere, the very first swatting that was called in, figured out a way. It's like, look, this person's pissing me off. I'm not liking it. And I want to cause them distress, at least equal to the distress that they've been causing me. So I will call in a false police report and get the police sent to their address. And if I call it in enough, maybe they'll. If I call it a bad enough report, maybe they'll send the real police, the special police, to the address. Yeah, and really put this person through some hazing and everything like that.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's been a psychological study that I keep referring back to that says that the anonymity that the internet provides you, a lot of people hide behind that so well that they're not even aware of how their words and actions affect the world beyond that statement or outside of the internet.
I don't get it, because you see these people, they're going, this person is harassing me, this person is a terrible person, oh, this person, they don't agree with me over something, the simplest thing, and then they turn around, they're like, you need to kill yourself. Or they will cause this person real harm. They'll put out their address, they'll put out pictures of them and their family, and it's like, you're the one doing the real harm. How can you be against this person who simply just doesn't agree with you on something, and you're causing real harm to that person?
Yeah, like you have escalated it. You have stooped lower than just disagreeing with somebody. You've essentially said, because they don't disagree with me, they deserve to be removed from not just the conversation, but from society or life in general, because people can't be convinced otherwise. You can't have a credible, structured, organized argument and conversation. You can't debate this and come to an agreement or a compromise. I don't know why, but it seems like that's kind of the way of things are going.
Well, speaking of people being removed because of controversies in society and, can't have a reasonable argument or discussion or anything, and just burning the place down, let's talk about Magic the Gathering.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Didn't we talk about this last time?
Well, yeah.
The last episode we put out was...
I think we upset somebody.
So that's, that's different, though. That's the... that last episode is, lots of has happened since then. I mean, Magic itself in this year, for the year in review, has gone through lots of weird things. I mean, we've had backlash from the over product. We've had backlash from the quality of the product having gone down. We have backlash from now they're going from a 2-set to a 1-set cycle. They went from a 18-month cycle back to their older cycle of cards in and everything else. So there's been lots of stuff there. But the big thing is we had Unsleeved Media, and
we had covered that rather extensively at that point in time.
They got lifetime banned.
Yep.
Is what ended up coming down.
Which I expected. And I'm pretty sure they expected as well.
I did not expect a lifetime ban. Yes. What?
I have to go.
Okay, then say something and go.
Yes, but we're on
Go.
Yeah,
Go bye-bye.
Like, hey.
Go bye-bye.
So
There's
thank
the
you
door
for
right over
joining
there.
us for
Thank
this
you for
show.
joining us, Boss Pander.
Boss Pander, we'll see you. Yeah.
I just don't want to talk about magic anymore.
I feel you, really. But somebody's got to be here.
My gosh. Look, we have to talk about anime and everything else. We can talk about this, too.
Oh, I'm sure anime is so difficult for you to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hang
so... Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be fun to edit. Bye. Okay,
so there was the lifetime ban handed down to Unsleeved Media.
Not unexpected with the witch hunt that was going on.
But still is very unreasonable. I mean, if there was some sort of ban, fine, I could have allowed that. I still would have gone grumble, but lifetime was unprecedented.
Yeah.
There was a, and it's been kind of been blowing up since in some other things. We've had, there was a rather infamous investigative journalist that has just recently weighed in after all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
The investigative journalist, he ended up breaking the Anthony Weiner case, finding out who Carlos Danger was, and everything. And so, the guy has some actual credible chops. We're not talking about talking about people that are columnist or something as some little magic rag. No, we're talking a couple of heavy hitters have started to weigh in on this.
I'm a freelance blogger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's bad when, more than just your little sites or, when it starts to get out in the mainstream.
So this investigative journalist has looked into the Unsleeved Media thing.
Yes.
Have they cracked this open yet?
So one of the things that has cracked open on this is they talk about granted, everybody basically says Unsleeved Media, Jeremy, he's an asshole, and yeah, he is, but that doesn't mean that
the world is filled with
the world's
assholes.
filled with assholes. But
you will at some point be somebody's asshole. It's just part of life.
Yeah. But just because somebody, is being a dick, or is perceived to be a dick does not necessarily justify certain responses like a lifetime ban. So he ended up looking into this. And one of the things he found out is, the big question was the code of conduct.
Mm-hmm.
So there was, in all this, that's where it starts to fall apart, is because if you look at the code of conduct, where's the line, especially when you go to quote unquote bullying and harassment, because at that point, almost anybody could qualify to get DCI banned underneath that,
It's true.
And what was funny is that there were other public personalities, and this is the thing that still doesn't even really get brought up, was that Christine Sprankle is a public personality.
Yeah.
Okay. In the magic community, you have Unsleeved Media with Jeremy, who is a public personality. Criticism is going to happen for public personalities. And the thing is if somebody criticizes them or if they criticize each other, that's going to happen. And it was even, Christine Sprankle had even said, you got to take the good with the bad. And she said this like a couple of years before even, it's like, look, negative criticism is going to happen, especially when you are
doesn't matter what you do.
The face of magic.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do, or if you're putting yourself out there in public. I mean, that's why people have a lot of anxiety. There are people out there who said that they would rather undergo waterboarding than give a public speech. It's one of those things. They would rather die than speak in front of a group of any number of people. And having to put yourself out there in something like a costume or cosplay and worry about people, not just people going, oh, that's not a lovely costume, and all those people looking at you, even if they adore you, there's always going to be those people in the crowd going, this isn't accurate, or you're not the right body type, or being super judgmental and sexist and whatever. And that's something that unfortunately cosplay has to accept. Now, there are plenty of places out there making statements like cosplay is not consent. There are safe spaces going up all over conventions and things like that. It certainly is. There's a social outreach saying that's not cool.
Right.
And that's understandable. That I can go with.
So the whole thing is, okay, lifetime ban because he targeted harassed Christine Sprankle. But since all this has happened, he's also received a lot of targeted harassment. He's had the
DCI ban itself is actually a result of that harassment.
Yeah.
That was what they were clamoring for, amongst other things.
And so
things.
So this journalist, points out, it's like other people have called flat out target harassment. Other judges have basically fallen underneath the whole target harassment thing. Mm-hmm. There's no bans on them. And the thing is, it's like some of these people have said, just as bad things like we need to go after him. We need to make sure that his YouTube channel is shut down and everything else. And he pointed out the actual judge code of conduct is set to a higher standard than the player code of conduct. But they're still judges, and there's no lifetime bans for them. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the, that's some of the things that's caused this to still stay within the community is these other commentators have just been like, said stuff. And nothing's happened. You had A.E. Marling, who is, he's a writer in his own right, but he's been contracted or actually directly works with Magic, but either way, he writes flavor text for Magic cards. Yeah. So he is attached to Magic, as some way as a contractor and whatnot. And he was like, here, I put together a list. This is how you go after shutting down somebody's Patreon, their Twitter, and everything. We need to go after Unsleeved Media. Mm-hmm. Nothing in regards to that. He gets a walk. Yeah. And
he's absolutely, Unsleeved Media, unfortunately, was made into a target, and putting a target on somebody is just as bad as putting a target on yourself by putting yourself out there in the public. Putting a target on somebody could be argued to be worse because they're not asking for that kind of attention. Unsleeved Media is a public figure.
Yes.
He put his YouTube, his opinions out there, stood up on his soapbox and said what he thought.
Yeah.
And, he has to accept the consequences. However, there is such a thing as cruel and unusual, overbearing, overreaching punishment for some sort of disagreement or the other.
Yeah. And there was one more fall on this. There was Travis Wu, who is a pro player. He got a 1-year ban because of a closed group on Facebook called Magic for Bed. Yeah. Where people could troll and meme and blah. And
closed group.
And people exposed the closed group. He set it up. He didn't really moderate it.
Yeah.
And he has received a 1-year ban from playing professionally with his DCI number.
For this private group of friends and the things that they have said. Mm-hmm. Because somebody got butthurt and decided to expose it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is the hypocrisy in all this is you have people like Owen Turdenwald, which you won't know.
No.
But he was at the center of another controversy called Goifgate. Back in 2015, as a pro player, he was tweeting out things like "you disgust me" and everything at the other Magic player being very unprofessional, who pulled a Tarmogoyf foil from the pack versus the proper choice in a draft to win the tournament. Okay, he pulled the money card, and there was a lot of argument at that time over that, but seeing the reactions from other pro players just being heels.
Yeah.
They didn't get DCI banned or anything like this, but yet they themselves jumped on Jeremy Hambley and Unsleeved Media needs to be banned.
Yeah.
One of the other interesting ones in all this...
I will say, for those people who are not the uninitiated, that made very little sense to me as well.
Yeah.
As far as like what earned him that sort of ire, but it doesn't matter what. If somebody is being unprofessional or unsportsmanlike, you have to be the better man about that kind of thing. You have to be like, well, that's unfortunate for you. I'm sorry.
So there was another big player that got banned, and let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. Still digging for your fact checking. The thing about it is, it seems like the Magic community is it's this niche community, and you can kind of treat it as sort of a sample, if you will, of the larger communities out there, the internet community itself as a whole, the various video game communities, the various other collector communities and things like that. This is, I'm looking in at this, like in some cases very microscopically close, and getting this sort of sample view as if I had scooped water out of the ocean or something like that. So I can say that this is not exactly highlighting the major big problems that are going on, and this is showing some smaller problems in smaller groups. And things like that. What happened to Unsleeved Media is unfortunate, and it's something that this community needs to keep in mind as it proceeds forward.
Well, here's where it gets crazier, and I want to, there was another pro player that was banned for life. There was Zachary Jesse was banned. It took 2 months to ban him he actually got brought up on charges 10 years prior for sexual assault. Okay. So Magic decided, okay, this is the line. If you've ever had charges in the past, you're banned for life from playing because we don't want other kids and everything to be uncomfortable. Somebody dug into his past and brought this out, you know? And so, but they said, fine, this is kind of the line. So somebody has actually physically assaulted somebody, had charges against them and everything else. This is where it gets really interesting here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The judge program is underneath fire for this because it came out after this lifetime ban of Unsleeved Media that a judge had been brought up on charges for sexual assault on a minor. Okay. Yeah. He was not banned from playing Magic to not lose his DCI number. His level 3 judge was removed, but he is allowed to reapply to be a judge after a certain amount of time that the judge community feels has been okay. So saying things on the internet equates to a lifetime ban, but being a judge,
falling under suspicion, being charged with and possibly allegedly convicted of harassing a child is a slap on the wrist.
Correct. This is where it started to really blow up. So they started to ask about what's being done for background checks on these judges. And the judge program goes, that's not our responsibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that started another argument within
I'm sorry,
the community.
I have to call like shenanigans on this. All right, if you're going to make a statement in the official rulings that says that if you have been brought up on charges, then we're going to not let you compete or judge. That's the official ruling within some sort of official statement from Wizards or whatever.
If you've been brought up on charges, you're gonna be able to not compete.
Then it is on you to provide this burden of proof that you supposedly are going to police this community over.
Well, they're saying that's up to the local game stores and the event organizers.
They can't afford that. You know how much a background check costs?
Considering they bring in judges from all over the world.
Yeah.
For the big events, and then you have the professional events that Wizards actually does host, the Pro Tour ones, but those judges are still there at them. Yeah. So it's a weak argument. And the interesting thing with this is there's been about 5 judges that have been found out to have either A, been convicted, or on the sexual predator list, or have been, in court documents and whatnot, have been alleged to have physically assaulted somebody else, but they're still judges. And the funny thing is the person who got the lifetime ban has been working to help expose all this. So Unsleeved Media has been bringing this to the attention because he said, you know what? Fine, let's burn this all down for this hypocrisy.
Like, you know what? I said a bad thing 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That's literally what Unsleeved Media did. I think Jeremy is his name.
Jeremy
is his name. He said a bad 6 months ago. Well, a bad, quote unquote, alleged. We don't know. I have seen a lot of people saying all the things that should happen to this guy and very little in the way of what this guy did to earn this massive outpouring of ire, especially with all of these other things coming to light, saying, that the whole thing is kind of rife top to bottom with inconsistencies, hypocrisies, and lack of actual policing. While they're willing to hand down policy saying this is the ruling whenever this situation arises, it's like, well, the judges are part of your official game, something that you claim to actually take seriously.
Yes.
If you are going to give these people a position of authority over kids, over players, and expect them to be fair and impartial and promote a good sportsman-like, play of the game, then people should be good sportsman-like people who are upheld as pillars of a community or something like that.
Correct.
The burden of proof should be either the judge is required to notify, and if they are not notifying, then the burden of proof falls on the people who are actually administering the judge program. But putting it on the game stores and the game playing communities out there to check over all of their members, to Big Brother absolutely everything and be suspicious of everybody that happens to join their crew.
So here's the thing with this is like the judge code of conduct is basically, and you say judge, you think a judge is a person who's supposed to be fair, diplomatic, they can be harsh, but not,
they hand down a ruling,
but not a heel.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is what we're seeing with all this is we got people and if a judge is typically has done something unscrupulous that has broken the law, they usually resign from their judgeship.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's not happening in the Magic community, and it's a shame.
So if you're gonna clean house because Unsleeved Media said a thing you didn't like, you really need to go and clean out house on the rest of what's going on here. And don't be surprised if you find out that cleaning house ends up leading to some people you didn't expect getting kicked out of the community because they violate some sort of standard or some ruling or some term or something like that.
Yeah. You can't just go after, something that you don't like being said and without the inward looking at your own organization. Mm-hmm. And that's been the biggest thing that's causing a divisive rift within the community. What's even more interesting with this is, I don't know, that seems to be the mantra right now. It's like, can we get this person's DCI number? Can we make them go away? Like, that's going to get them to go away from Magic. That just means they can't go play in a store or event or Friday Night Magic.
I played Magic. I never had a DCI. I never had to register. The only gaming thing I ever registered with was the United States Chess Federation, and that was because I was going with a friend to matches, and they had a sign-up table there. And even then, I was never rated because I never submitted any official games. I didn't even know how. So,
and what's making this worse right now, and I heard this like the other day even, it's like, it seems like if you don't agree with somebody in the Magic community, or the call right now is, let's raise a pitchfork, let's get their DCI number, and let's get them out of here. Yeah, even if they've not said anything bad. I mean, it's like it's happened.
All right.
That's happened with MTG Finance here recently with Alpha Investments. There are people going, can we get his DCI number? Can we get him, man? He's a distributor.
He runs a store.
Yeah.
He sells these cards, and that's why he invests in these cards. I don't even think he plays. He might have played at some point, and he can look at a deck and understand the mechanics or something like that. But I don't think he plays seriously anymore. He certainly doesn't need a DCI number to play the game.
Yeah, you don't need a DCI number to play seriously. Look, that's the thing is, when you have at one point 20 million, we're back down, we're like 12 million players. The majority of the 12 million, the vast majority, are not playing Friday Night Magics. They're not playing game days. They're playing with their friends at kitchen tables. Okay? Yeah. That is the majority of the people actually buying Magic products. And we're going, oh gosh, no, I don't want my kids to go play at the stores because
this is the kind of thing they're walking into.
Yeah.
It's like we have unregulated sexual predators and registered sexual offenders there in a position of authority over them.
There have been at a minimum of 3 judges that have been removed from the judge profile site, or they've had their accounts locked down, or everything else, because this is all being exposed now thanks to Unsleeved Media.
Yeah.
So Unsleeved Media, in some aspects, is kind of turning into not not every hero wears a cape, you know,
Sort of a martyr.
Yeah, well, it's like Martin Shkreli
Yeah.
was.
I don't want to mention that guy in any kind of favorable light.
Well, he was kind of deemed evil, but then turned into kind of like the anti-hero in some areas.
There is nothing heroic about Martin Shkreli.
Well, in some areas.
The only thing the man served to do was to blatantly highlight just how corrupt the big pharma policies are out there, and I don't think that was his goal in the first place. He basically said, "Look, I did it, and I'm going to do it because I can, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Yeah,
and that's exactly what he did. And he's not even the only one. There are plenty of other big pharma people out there who have raised prices on medications and stuff. That's getting off on a tangent.
Yeah, that is getting off on a tangent. You know. But in all this, I mean, this is the thing: is like even. The journalist who wrote about that started to write about a lot of stuff to bring some stuff to light, you know, because people go find Breitbart News, whatever. Who cares about Breitbart News putting out an article? Mm-hmm. But the problem is that Breitbart News article comes up because really Breitbart News is one of the top 5 that comes up nowadays.
Moving on.
Is this journalist who did not write the one for Breitbart News, Lou Colagavani,
Giovanni,
yeah, the one that broke the Anthony Weiner scandal, and has wrote and been on multiple sites, multiple things for TV and whatnot. Mm-hmm. When you get a heavy hitter that starts writing about this, and we're not talking about like Kotaku or any of those other sites, or like, you know, we're talking about like Hipsters of the Coast or the little columnists within the community. No, when you start getting the attraction of outside like Breitbart News or this
big, you know, big name investigative journalist,
that means that you better start looking internally.
It's like, look, you were already willing to torch the bridge with Unsleeved Media, and when Unsleeved Media said, "Oh, well, they're going to burn the bridge," I might as well just pour gas on the fire.
Yeah, the gloves are off. You know, and he warned. He said, "All right, fine, let's watch this thing burn because there's been so many skeletons in people's closets, and you've come after me."
I can say for a fact, I'm glad I dropped the Magic community before I even got involved in it. Like, I played with friends at home, and I maintained a modest collection of cards, nowhere near as much as this guy.
Yeah.
I maintain a passing interest in Magic cards simply because they are still popular. They're coming up on 25 years as a game. And from what I've heard that's been going on since the sale to Hasbro and all of the stuff that this guy just rails on about and geeks out about, I'm glad I got out of it. I'm glad. I'm happy to be looking from the outside in and going, that is so dumb.
You'll come back at some point, too.
No, I am not going to come back to Magic, especially after hearing all of this and the kind of things that the way that the game itself goes. You have to understand, in my view, a game is encapsulated. All right, it has a start, it has a finish, it has a beginning condition and a win condition, and a loss for any other people competing.
Well, that's Magic.
No, that was Magic.
It still has that.
Now Magic has a beginning. It has a start. The original alpha, like the original, not alpha, but the actual released retail set, the first set, was an all-encapsulated system. And every single edition that has come out since then has been a reiteration of that system with some sort of variation. And in some cases, absolutely breaking the game.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it is just an excuse to get people to continue buying cards under the guise of saying it's a trading card game or a collectible card game. When I buy a game, I want that game to be playable 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, so long as I keep all the points.
It still is at the kitchen table.
Those cards are effectively worth more for me to sell than to keep around and actually playing and keeping in a dusty box somewhere. And if I roll out a first edition set of Magic cards and say, hey, do you guys want to play Magic? Did you bring your cards? They're going to come in with current edition cards, which have no bearing on the original game whatsoever. No influence, no effect.
Sure they do.
Yeah. So essentially, I think this is a game that's grown way too far beyond its means. It should have been something that should have been cut off, reiterated fully from the ground up, probably like 8 years ago, or something like that.
That's an argument for a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's why you see other weird formats come out for it, and the latest one that potentially come out has been Frontier.
Yeah,
and Frontiers or postmodern is also what it's called, basic because they're like, oh, this has gone too far. You know, in a different format and everything else like this.
It's just didn't feel right to have to continue to keep buying a game that I only played passively on the weekends and wasn't really enjoying even then.
I'm sure you would still pick up a commander deck.
Maybe. I still have one.
Yeah, because
it's still in box.
Because at least the commander decks are more self-contained.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, it's a game I can play, but there are so many other games I can be playing, and some of them are way more fun than Magic.
And then you have the rules that keep changing over the time and everything else.
Yeah, when I first was playing, like back in high school, we had no concept of the stack, first in, last out.
That didn't exist, really.
Yeah. There were actual interrupts.
Yes.
Yeah. Like actual interrupts. So it was like, no, you don't. Yeah. That could actually stop an effect from occurring, but it got people got so mincing about exactly when an interrupt could actually go on that they finally said, "Fine, the interrupts don't exist anymore."
That's because the rules with the Pro Tour and everything else happened over time, and everything else like this. And
when money got involved, when professional play led to money getting involved,
and with professional play comes corruption.
Yep,
which is really funny because there's cheating in the game. There's these corrupt judges now, whether or not
there's the game itself not being actively and accurately play tested, so they've had to issue more emergency bans lately than they've ever had to
in their lifetime
lifetime of the game.
Yeah,
so 23 years, 24 years.
Yeah,
something like that.
We have 3 cars emergency banned.
Yeah, more emergency bans in these most recent editions than any other edition before.
Yeah,
yeah.
So Wizards of the Coast needs to look internally before Hasbro comes down and goes,
"What the hell are you doing?
What the hell are you doing? We need to clean house."
Yeah.
Because this has been ridiculous. Oh, by the way, there have been people that have been banned that have threatened Wizards of the Coast employees with assault.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said they're still going to go to an event. Wizards takes it seriously, up security. Person has a lifetime ban. Oh, lifetime ban got removed so they could play again. Yeah, this is the big problem with it. I mean, any normal person, not a fanboy of either side, looks at this. You take a step back and go, yeah, there's something wrong here. Something needs to change before I will potentially go into it, or before I would advise this to somebody else and everything. Sure, you got the fanboys on one side trying to discredit this because that's happening with everything nowadays. Oh no, we got to discredit this person or this article. Oh no, this, no, this is all bad.
Yeah.
This is all bad.
Well, so we may be coming back with some more content, maybe outside of the show, more content covering this whole thing going on with the Magic community and different things going on within the Magic, the whole mechanics of the Magic game itself and everything like that. We may be coming up with some more content like that. We'll let you guys know.
I still love Magic itself.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
It's a game. I love games. I even love sports. I don't play sports. I'm not interested in teams and sponsorships and all of the capitalism going around sports, but I like the game, the sport itself.
But this is just one more nail in the coffin for, besides all the other things that have happened, like card quality or pumping out sets or changing in the format or other weird things, that has made me step away from being a standard or modern or, even semi-professional player.
Yeah.
Going to like Grand Prix qualifiers or actual Grand Prix, step away from the game again and take a hiatus again. This is not the first time because I played competitively back in Mirage, Vision, Weatherlight, Tempest Cycle. Okay. It's going to happen. So anybody that wants to sit there and go, oh, you're not a real Magic player because you don't net deck and go every Friday night, go pound sand. There are at least millions upon millions of players that play Magic that are Magic players. There are collectors, whether it's sealed box,
or singles.
Yeah. We are just as influential and important to the ecosystem as the person who goes and plays modern, plays vintage. They get some hate too.
Yeah.
By the way, and it's funny, we are what we are. But
so, like I said, we'll come back to this.
Yes, we'll come back to this.
I do want to say thanks again. Happy New Year, and thanks to you guys for a wonderful year's worth of covering these shows. I know we kind of stumbled near the end there, but we'll get back to something a little more consistent and everything like that.
Yes.
So I've been Faust. This has been Harrison. Boss Pander was here. She had to go take off and run an errand. So we will see you guys next week.